Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode here in Heartful Talks with Julie. And this is a show dedicated to helping you live a more fulfilling and purposeful life. I'm your host. My name is Julie, and I am a Muslim life coach. And today we're going to talk about the importance of showing up every day, even if you don't feel like it. We all experience those days where we feel we have a low motivation, we feel tired, we feel lazy. And sometimes the challenges are just so many that we don't feel like showing up. And what I'm going to share with you in this episode is a powerful mindset shift that happens when we ground ourselves in gratitude. And this has been a foolproof system for me. Alhamdulillah, it has worked so well at those times that I feel like I don't want to show up. Subhanallah. And with this approach, by having this mindset of saying, I get to, instead of I have to, we can transform our perspective and find the strength to keep moving forward, inshallah. So, in this episode, we'll explore more about that, how gratitude can be a game changer. And I want to share some practical tips on how to make showing up easier, inshallah. So, let's get started. Bismillah. So, before I explain more about the practical tips and also explain how you can use that simple statement about I get to, my usual go-to approach whenever I feel like I don't want to show up or I don't have the energy or motivation to continue with my day, I always go back to my intentions. Remembering why I started, remembering why did I committed to something. Remember why I need to work on something. It often pulls me into a motivation. It's like an energy booster for me. And whenever I remember my intention, then I have this, a little bit of push to show up and give it all every day. So even though I don't have enough sleep or I don't have energy to get through the day, sometimes I'm just doing the bare minimum, just remembering my purpose in life and also remembering the people that I can help with the things that I'm doing, or just remembering how I can please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just remembering not to waste every single second of every day just by procrastinating or delaying some of the things that I need to do, and just do mindless things, subhanallah. So whenever I remember that, it kind of zaps me into the right mindset, and inshallah, it enables me to show up in my best self on that day. So whether it is like 100% or even if it's just less than 100% of me showing up, the most important thing is that I showed up. That's, I guess, the most important thing. We don't have to show up whenever things are perfect, when we don't have to show up whenever we just feel like we want to, because that's gonna be a little bit difficult if we just rely on our emotions, whether we feel like it or not. That is actually counterproductive, subhanallah. So I don't rely on that, but I just rely back on my intentions. And once I am clear on that, alhamdulillah, I get that little spike of energy, just like when you drink a cup of coffee, to give you that boost. And inshallah, I have a great start for that day, even though I feel like it's not so great, when I woke up that morning. So another thing that helps me regain the energy, that boost, that motivation is just by being grateful. So this is, subhanallah, um, tried and tested, subhanallah. Gratitude always fuels my motivation. It's also redirects my focus into the right things. And alhamdulillah, it's also gives me that right determination, at least for that day, just to survive, just to go through that day, just to make the most out of that day. Gratitude really grounds me to my purpose in life, and also grounds me back to my intention. Alhamdulillah, just starting with the day of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, feeling grateful for all the blessings that He has given to me, feeling grateful that I am awake, I am alive today. Subhanallah, just to give to be given another day, another chance to better myself, to correct the mistakes that I did from yesterday or from the past. Subhanallah, just remembering waking up to a new day, having a fresh start. Alhamdulillah, that's gives me the motivation that I need. Gratitude is more than just a feeling. It's a practice that we have to be mindful of. And inshallah, if we do this correctly, it will change your view of your daily task or daily challenges, the struggles that you're dealing with every day. When we are focused on what we're grateful for, we shift our mindset into doing things out of obligation just because we have to, we should to, shifting that into a different mindset, which is an opportunity to do good things, an opportunity to earn the pleasure of Allah, an opportunity to take up our responsibility, the things that we have to do because we are responsible, we are accountable, and we are that type of person who always upholds, the Islamic values. So shifting that to obligation, from obligation to opportunity, subhanallah, it's just a game changer. And that all starts with gratitude. So let me share more about the simple hack that I mentioned earlier, which is just using the simple statement of I get to. So instead of saying, "Oh, I have to exercise today," because it's the right thing to do, right? I have to exercise. So instead of saying I have to, say I get to. I get to exercise today. I get to take care of my body and improve my health. Notice that difference, just a very subtle difference of using the word have and get, right? So I have to, I should do this. It kind of gives you that feeling of an obligation, like you are forced into doing it, right? Although we know we have to abide the rules, we have to follow, right? Those are the right things that we need to do. But how can we do these things without forcing ourselves, without doing it just purely out of obligation, right? So change that statement into I get to. So I get to means that some people don't even have a chance to do this thing that you're doing right now. Some people don't have the privilege to be working at home. Some people don't have the luxury of having a home. Subhanallah. And some people also don't even have an opportunity to have a job. I get to. I get to perform. I get to show up today. Just remembering those other people who don't have the same opportunity like you. Right? So it's so humbling, right? It's such a powerful experience just to feel grateful for what you have and not to take it for granted. Okay, so I give you another example. Instead of saying I have to pray, because in Islam, as Muslims, we have to pray 5 times a day, right? We need to pray. That's the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But sometimes I also get that feeling that like I'm dragging myself to the prayer mat. It's true. It's the reality. So how do we show up even though our feelings, let me just say the nafs are kind of fighting against our willpower, subhanallah. So use this statement, say this to yourself: I get to pray. I get to pray and meet and talk and make sujood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? I am honored. I get to pray, and I'm honored that I am welcomed into the prayer mat, because others are not invited at all to pray. Subhanallah. I just think about that. You get to do all this worship. You get to do all this types of ibadah, the remembrance of Allah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Even though you feel it's getting repetitive, it's getting kind of automatic or robotic for you, still you have to think that alhamdulillah, you get to do these things, because there are people who don't have the opportunity, who don't even remember to do dhikr or to pray, subhanallah. Grounding yourself in gratitude and remembering that this is a privilege that was given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Would you waste that privilege? Would you want to waste that blessing from Allah? Just think about that. Pause for a few seconds and internalize what it means for you. Here's another example. I am incredibly busy with so many things, and this happens to all of us, right? We have so many to-do lists, we have so many pending tasks at work. But alhamdulillah, I am grateful that I get to do all these things, since it is much better than not doing anything at all. It is much better than not having any job at all. It is much better than wasting time on phone, on social media, or binge watching Netflix, right? So alhamdulillah, I am busy, but I get to do all these things because I have the resources that I need. Alhamdulillah, I have internet to do my work. Alhamdulillah, I have a place to work at my office. So whenever you feel like you don't want to show up at work, just remember the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, Alhamdulillah, I get to blank do this thing. I get to go to office. I get to watch the sunrise in the morning when I get to office. Shift your focus from the dread and the negative feeling of I have to do this. So shift that and focus on the positive things, like, okay, another day, another opportunity to do good things, another day, another opportunity to try something new, right? So subhanallah, let me share with you, when I started to think this way, when I started to say the statement, I get to, alhamdulillah, I am so excited for Mondays. I tell you, last time I dread whenever Monday is coming up, like it's a Sunday evening and I'm just thinking, oh no, I have tons of things to do. I have so many things to do at work. I already feel tired just by thinking of all those things, subhanallah. But now, whenever Monday is coming up, alhamdulillah, I'm so excited. Alhamdulillah, yes, it's Monday. I get to do new things. I get to try different things. I get to work on some of my projects. Alhamdulillah. I just feel like I'm looking forward every day for Monday because it feels like a fresh start. And so whatever mishaps, whatever mistakes, whatever unexpected things that happened last week, it's okay. It's okay. I will learn from it. It's from the past. Now I can move forward, start a new week, and start on the right footing, inshallah, and start with gratitude. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that you really start thinking about this mindset, and inshallah you will implement this. It's very easy. Just start with Alhamdulillah, I get to, and then complete the next sentence. So when we show up, whether again it's 100% or less than 100%, what's important is that we learn to appreciate the present moment, whatever's happening right now in front of our eyes. We appreciate that and then look for those small things, these small, beautiful things that is happening. And inshallah, whenever you show up, you also contribute positively into your own life and others' lives, right? Because like being present with your family, being present with your workmates or colleagues, being present because you have the responsibility. You need to fulfill that, inshallah. It doesn't have to depend on whether you feel like showing up or not. It highly, highly depends on how grateful you are right now. And by showing up, you are actually showing that gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Showing up every day and giving your best effort requires consistency, dedication, and positive mindset. So let me share you some practical tips on how to make showing up easier, inshallah. So the first one is use positive affirmations. And this is what I've been saying for a few minutes now. use the statement I get to. Start your day with positive affirmations that reinforce your commitment and gratitude. So instead of saying I have to, I should, say I get to. I get to make a difference today. I am capable and ready to face a new day. Right. Inshallah, when you say these positive things, it can help boost your motivation throughout the day, inshallah. Second tip, break tasks into manageable steps. One of the things that really holds me back or make me feel like I want to be lazy for the day, it's because I'm avoiding something that I don't want to do. Honestly, if we see some big, huge task or a project and I feel like, oh no, it's too many things, right? All at the same time. So instead of feeling excited to do that thing, it's the opposite, right? We just want to run away because it's so exhausting to do this thing. I'm gonna be tired doing this thing, right? So instead of looking at it as a one big chunk or one huge task, you just need to break it down into small manageable steps. And this approach will help lessen the feeling of overwhelm, and also it makes it easier to tackle each task with focus. So doing one small step at a time. Try not to multitask, okay? That is also a lesson that I've learned from the past. And it's very hard to focus if we try to put our attention in so many web browsers, subhanallah. So just focus on one small task at a time because it is most likely you'll finish that task compared to multitasking, doing two, three different things at the same time. What also helps me is having a to-do list in my computer so that it's easier for me to look and see whether, okay, which one is the priority? Have I done this on my to-do list? Sometimes I write things down in my notebook. Sometimes it's faster and easier for me if somebody said, hey, can you help me on this? Like somebody just talk to me and say, okay, can you do this? Right? So the notepad or notebook is the fastest way for me to write it down. And this action actually helps me to regain my focus on the task at hand because sometimes these interruptions actually distracts us from what we're doing, and it's hard to go back to the task when we want to start again. So at least if I write it down somewhere, it's gonna stay there. My mind is just gonna tell me, okay, I can come back to it later, and I don't have to worry about whether I'm gonna forget about that task. Okay, so that's just a quick tip. Seeing this little task makes me feel that I can do these things, and so I don't feel overwhelmed. And also, it very encouraging for me to just continue working on my to-do list. So I hope that helps you and try it out. Let me know if that works. Tip number 3, create a routine. Create a daily routine that includes time for work or deep focus, personal activities, maybe some of your hobbies. Don't forget to include self care and, of course, rest. A well structured routine helps a lot to managing your time effectively. Avoid those small pockets of wasted time just by looking at your phone. And also, when you have a routine, it's gonna be easier for you to show up on those different areas of your life. So, like I said, work, of course, your physical and mental well-being, and other passion or personal activities that you like to do. So, for example, as I've mentioned in my previous podcast about how to get out of a slump, creating a simple routine in the morning in 3 steps helps me set up my day correctly, in the right focus, in the right mindset, the dhikr, Quran, and then journaling. So these 3 simple steps helps me to gain my focus, and inshallah, it sends me off with a good start. Write it down in your journal, or maybe you can use time blocking in your calendar, and just block a few hours of time. So for example, the first few hours in the morning from 9 to 12, this is the type of activity that you're doing, and then you have a lunch break, and then after that in the afternoon You can set up like reading time or Quran time, focus time, things like that. And you just block the time. And inshallah, this will be a guide for you to do the next activities, and you won't waste time thinking about, okay, what should I do next? Right. So having a routine really helps. And inshallah, this will be beneficial for you as well. Try it out. Another tip is set realistic expectations. So, whenever you have a mountain of tasks that you need to do, just decide the top three things that you need to get done today. And this always works for me. Alhamdulillah. Because when I decide what are the priority for the day, so I just let go of the rest of the items in my to-do list, and I'll just say, okay, I'll get to it next day or maybe next week, right? Or it depends if the priority shifts, right? So at least I can breathe easy. I can really focus on my work or the task at hand, and not to continue worrying about the rest of the task. So I find it really, really helpful just to set the right priorities and then work on those priorities for the day. Also, I finding some balance between pushing myself and maintaining my own well-being. This will come with practice, inshallah. You will know when to keep going, when to keep pushing yourself, and then when to stop and take a rest. Listen to your body, because our body gives signals when we are stressed. So, for example, if you start feeling some back pain or some shoulder pain here, by sitting in front of a computer for many hours, it's gonna be very stressful for you and your body. It's gonna give you some signals. So when that happens, listen to your body and take a break. Maybe it's time to take a 5 minutes break, stand up, do some stretching, or read something else aside from work. So at least you give your mind and body a rest from your deep work. I hope that helps. Another tip is to prioritize self care. So, taking care of the physical, mental, and emotional well being is very important so that you can show up and perform at your best. So, one thing that I really make it a point every day is that I move my body, I exercise, or I walk outside. Because even though I don't feel like going out, or I feel like, I want to sleep, or I don't have the energy, actually, sometimes it's just excuses. Subhanallah. Because whenever I go for an exercise and I come back, somehow I feel more energized. I feel more alive. I feel more awake. Maybe you think that you're tired, but maybe it's just an excuse. So try it out. Whenever in the morning you feel like, oh, I already sleep maybe like more than 6 hours, but you still feel tired. Maybe the one thing that's missing is your physical movement. Okay. And try that one out and take note of how you feel after the exercise. For me personally, I noticed that I actually feel more energy after exercise, and I feel like more awake, and I don't have the tendency to go back to sleep. Right. So that's also another hack that I try to implement, inshallah. Like instead of going back to sleep, after Fajr in the morning, I try to go outside and walk or run, so that, keep the blood pumping and keeping my body awake. And subhanallah, after that, after a shower, alhamdulillah, I feel refreshed, I feel alive, awake, and I can start my work. Try to engage also in activities that can help recharge you. So aside from physical exercise, one of the things that I really look forward, sometimes at the end of the work day, like for example in the evening, I read books. So that's something that I look forward to, and it's really a relaxing activity for me. Journaling also helps a lot. And sometimes just having a check in, talking with my family and friends. So it gives me some boost of motivation and energy as well. So this is all part of the self care. Last but not the least, one more tip for you is to review and reflect. So this means that just spend 1 hour or maybe less than 1 hour reviewing what happened for the past week. And what I call this activity is weekly reviews. I wanted to spend time think about what went well and what went wrong during the week, and it actually includes what are the things that I have achieved, or what are the things that I said I want to do and I was able to do it, versus what went wrong, meaning I intended to exercise daily, but I wasn't able to do that. Just reflecting on those things and asking myself, how did I feel? What happened? Maybe something unexpected happened. And just writing it down helps me assess in a more constructive way on how I can improve. Because sometimes I just feel like, oh, I did not do well, I'm not so productive. And without any solution or without any lesson learned from that experience, it will lead you to that path of a slump because you keep thinking about all the things that went wrong. If you just focus on lessons that you can learn from the unexpected things that happen during your week, inshallah, you can improve on that the following week. You can plan better, you can prioritize other tasks. You can actually prepare yourself for next week, and inshallah, it will be even better than the previous week. It's good to do this review every week because it's easy to correct the mindset, the behavior quickly compared to just waiting for a month or maybe a year on doing these reflections. And it's actually very hard to change the behavior because it has been a long time that you've been doing this. It kind of become a bad habit. So whenever I do an assessment, whenever I do a weekly review of what's working well and what is not working for me, then I know where to improve. I know where or how to adjust in my daily routine, or maybe I need to come up with new strategies so that I can optimize my performance for the next week, or I can do better for next week, inshallah. So if I miss out on some of the things or the targets that I said I wanted to do this week, it's okay. Just be compassionate with yourself. I also remind myself that, Julie, it's okay. You can still make up for it, inshallah, and just make dua to Allah to help you achieve those goals, inshallah. And so, yeah, that has been very, really helpful for me, alhamdulillah. So those are the practical tips to make showing up easier. So the first one is use a positive approach. Say, alhamdulillah, I get to do this blank, and then break the task into manageable steps. You also have to create a routine, right? So that it's going to be automatic for you to show up in the morning. So when it becomes a good habit that you show up, you pray, you have a dhikr, and then you exercise, whenever you feel like it or not, it's going to be automatic that your body is just going to move into it. And it's okay if you just feel like you're not consciously into it 100%. What matters most is the intention, and then that you showed up. And then inshallah, when you kickstart your day like this on a positive note, then the rest of the day will be good as well, right? And you will start to pick up your motivation and energy also. Another tip is set realistic expectations. Learn to prioritize the tasks that you need to do for today. Have a balance between pushing yourself versus taking a rest so that you won't feel burnt out. Prioritize self-care, and also have this habit of doing a weekly review so that you know what works well for you and you know what is not working for you, and then you can adjust yourself accordingly, inshallah. Showing up every day, even though when it's tough, is really a powerful practice. It takes time also to implement this, but inshallah, day by day, you'll get better into it. Remember to ground yourself in gratitude. That's the first step. And then the rest of the tips that I've shared with you, inshallah, will be helpful also as well, so that you can boost your motivation level throughout the day. Again, remember saying I get to instead of I have to or I should. Whenever we feel like I don't want to do this thing today, having that approach in life, saying Alhamdulillah, I get to, can transform our daily experience into finding the simple joys in life. And even though we are struggling or we are having difficulty in life, just say, Alhamdulillah, I get to live by the will of Allah. Alhamdulillah, I have all these blessings in me. Inshallah, no, you will be surprised and you'll be amazed just how this simple affirmation, simple positive mindset can change your day, and it will be easier for you to show up. Remember, consistency and self compassion is also the key. So just be compassionate on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself whenever you feel like you're not showing up. Maybe there's also a reason why you don't want to show up. Maybe something happened, or maybe someone said something to you and you need time to process that, and it's okay. But for some people that they don't have a choice but to show up because they have responsibilities, then it's okay also. You don't have to show up 100% completely every day. Again, what's important is you showed up for today. Inshallah, you will find these practical tips helpful. And if you find these entire episodes really beneficial, please subscribe and share this with anyone who you know might get benefit, inshallah. Until next time, stay grateful, stay committed, and keep showing up every day. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you on the next episode. Bye.